Hey, Climber Drew here. I've had to purge my 10 terabyte email storage 3 times in the last couple weeks because it has been full of people asking me why I haven't uploaded any videos lately. In fact, I was out taking a walk in the neighborhood the other day and I had to stop and console a small child whose mother told me was crying because there were no Climber Drew videos uploaded to YouTube in the last couple weeks. Well, I told the child, and I'll tell you now, it's hard to upload tree videos when you haven't really been doing any tree jobs. What you're seeing right now is the closest I feel I've come to a tree in a long time. Well, it was a tree before we cut it down. We cut down this dead hickory towards the end of September for a customer. And once we got it on the ground, I realized this tree is a solution to a problem that I have. One of the many problems that I have. This specific problem being the fact that I have this new house with a giant fire pit and a fireplace inside, but no firewood to burn in either of them. So I contemplated for a while what a crushing blow to my ego it would be to have to call somebody and have them drop off firewood to my house. I realized I'd have to throw my harness into the fire and burn it and say goodbye to the tree climber lifestyle because I could never, in good faith, step foot in a pair of spurs again. So when this dry, dead hickory landed on the ground, I realized this was my opportunity to avoid having to explain to my wife why some other man was rolling firewood into our backyard when her husband owns a tree company. So my partner helped me unload these logs into my backyard. I went to Ace and bought this Fiskars splitting axe, and I couldn't wait to get out into the backyard and try chopping some wood. But after the first few blows of the axe, I was faced with the realization that this was going to be a lot harder than I thought. I was chopping and getting absolutely nowhere before I realized my carefully measured firewood length logs were way too long somehow. So here I've cut them in half and I'm left with firewood lengths that are too short. But that does result in these logs being really easy to chop. Of course, I'm not sure if it's that or if it's this axe, but this wood is so easy to chop it feels like I'm cheating. Most of the time here I'm holding back on these logs because I don't want them to split too soon lest they go flying into the yard before I get the cookie diced up how I want it. You may be able to tell that I've watched just enough Buck and Billy Ray videos to be dangerous, but not enough to be efficient. However, there is no number of Buck and Billy Ray videos that you have to watch in order to have fun doing this, and this is very fun. I feel like an Apache Indian chief surveying the battleground, searching for scalps left on heads. So anyway, I think I was saying something about how it's been a long time since I've done a tree job, and this is the closest to a tree I've gotten in a while, and using that as an excuse for why I haven't put out any videos. And the reason for that is, and I'm not kidding, I have been visited by a creature from another dimension. In fact, possibly against our better judgment, my wife and I have opened the door to our new home to this creature from another dimension. And although I'll be the last person who will ever give money to a person out on the street asking for money, when this creature came onto the scene, I offered it everything I have, and I've since been giving it every ounce of my time and attention and energy. And similar to a person on the street asking you for money, I've really gotten nothing in return. I've cleared the calendar of tree jobs, I've been sitting on the couch all day, and believe it or not, I invited this creature into my life. For a long time, I've wanted one of these creatures to come into my life so that I can devote all my time and energy to it. And even though technically I get nothing in return for my energy expenditure towards this creature, somehow I feel immensely fulfilled and happy with the situation. And I would advise anybody interested to do the same. It's very much worth it. I'm told this creature is called a baby. One way you can tell they're from another dimension is because their eyes dart around the room, seeing things you don't see, as they wildly gesticulate with their arms and legs in farewell or greeting to these other creatures, presumably from the dimension they just left. And for the most part, these other creatures seem to be really friendly, except every once in a while you'll have one who, strangely for some reason, makes your baby cry, a tearless cry, and shriek in psychological anguish, which no amount of consoling or comforting on your part can do anything to extinguish. So for that, I blame these other dimensional creatures, and I wonder if they're part of the reason why my baby decided to leave that dimension and enter this one. Because we don't make her cry, we're just nice to her. And speaking of the baby and YouTube videos, If you've ever filmed a video of yourself, you'll know how hard it is to watch yourself on camera and listen to your own voice. But if it's hard to watch yourself on camera, imagine looking at another creature and seeing yourself in that creature, seeing your face on the face of another person. It is an absolutely mind-blowing experience that I highly recommend you try if you never want to be the same again. And speaking of not being the same again, there's another thing that I would like to change about myself, and that is that the last time I had this axe, this Very Fisker splitting axe, I ran over it and destroyed the handle with our Kubota mini skid steer and rendered it unusable, which is why I had to go buy this new one. But I would buy this axe 10 times over because it is that good. Like I said earlier, it makes this process feel like cheating because of how easy it is. I think splitting wood should be harder than this. But if you want to split wood as easily as this, you can go to the description and click the affiliate link for this axe and help support the cause of donating your goods and services to this alien creature who just began inhabiting my house. Because if you purchase this axe through the affiliate link, the proceeds will go indirectly straight into the mouth of that little creature. That's a really weird way of saying that I'm trying to use this YouTube channel to provide for my little baby. So if you believe in that cause, hit subscribe, watch the videos, and check out those links. This firewood cutting process is beneficial in a variety of ways. The heat energy in the form of calories that I'm using right now to do this are giving my body a good workout. The heat energy that will be released eventually from these logs in the form of fire will provide nourishing heat energy to my family when it's cold outside. And I'm getting good practice for what I will do to future boys who treat my daughter the wrong way. Although the idea of exacting vengeance on boys of the future who treat my daughter the wrong way is kind of an odd idea, because chances are good that those boys are babies right now. And if I were to look at those babies right now, I would have nothing but love and admiration for them. And that's another thing that having a baby makes you think about. The fact that these people you see, these adult human beings on TV, the internet, and in real life, who frustrate you and anger you, were at one time adorable babies who people loved and admired, and who you would have too. But the journey that they took from babyhood to adulthood yielded this frustrating, annoying, angering creature who makes the world a worse place. But how does somebody go from being an adorable baby to an adult who makes the world a worse place? I would suspect it has at least something to do with how people have treated them. Because I think in large part, we do treat other people as we've been treated. So for my second bit of homage to Buck and Billy Ray in this video, be kind to other people. Because the kindness or the meanness that you put forward to other people will probably come out of them at some point. So it's probably safe to look at everybody as an impressionable baby in terms of the way you treat them. It's just that some of us babies have gotten really good at building walls of defense around us to make it look like we're not impressionable babies, to make it look like we are a force to be reckoned with. Speaking of making impressions on people, I used to be a middle school math teacher, and I found myself standing at the front of the classroom being watched by a bunch of 11 and 12-year-olds. And there's something about having the eyes of a room full of 11 and 12-year-olds on you that makes you ask yourself, am I being a positive influence on these kids? Would I want them to turn out to be like me? Who am I to stand up here and be an example for these kids? All I've ever really done with my life is be in school, and all I really know is how to be in school. Who am I to stand here and tell these kids do this or don't do this? So I had to quit doing that and try to go make myself somebody who I want others to be like. Have I achieved that? No. If I could hit a magical button and turn other people into me, do I think the world would be better off? Not necessarily. But I think I'm closer to that point now than I was when I was standing in front of that classroom of 11 and 12-year-olds. And anyway, it's good to aspire to something. So yeah, like I was saying, I think we treat people how we've been treated, and I think we do what we've seen others do, which is part of the reason I became a teacher, because my whole life I was looking at teachers standing in front of me, and I thought, I can do that. I've seen people do it. but I had to quit that and go join my local fire department to surround myself with men who know how to do manly things that I didn't know how to do. And that's one reason I love YouTube so much. Because there's something about seeing someone else do something that makes it seem more possible for you, especially when that person you're watching is relatable. But on that note, don't do anything you've seen me do here today. This channel is strictly for entertainment purposes, not informational purposes. But do like and subscribe, and go watch a Buck and Billy Ray video.